I'll thank him anyway. There he is. Ford Simmons, who arranged this seminar tonight, the Small Business Workshop. My name is Jack O'Neill. I am the SCORE counselor here in Sumter. I've been the SCORE counselor for the last 6 years. SCORE is an acronym, as you can see, for Service Corps of Retired Executives. SCORE was developed, or was asked to be developed by the Small Business Administration to have people who had been in business before for themselves or who had experience working for major corporations. And what we do is we volunteer our time and expertise to help people write. The most important thing we're going to cover tonight is business plans. But we also give you advice on who do you need to see if you're going to start a business, who should you talk to, what do you have to do about legalities, what kind of structure should you have, and we'll cover all that tonight. I'd like to introduce Frank Krause, who's my district manager up in Columbia. He's running, I don't know, how many people do we have up there now?
Well, in our chapter, we have about 50 people, and we have about 25 or 30 in Columbia. The rest are spread out. Jack's here in Sumter. We have Hartsville. We have Kershaw, Sherrall. We have an office in Orangeburg.
It is free counseling. We do not only counseling. I work out of the Chamber of Commerce, usually 1/2 day a week. Wednesday's my normal day, but I move it around if someone wants to come in on Monday or Thursday, I can make that happen. We also do email counseling. That's why Frank wanted, you can email us and we can do counseling based on that. Now's a good time to go into business. It looks like the economy's turning around. We're starting to get some startups. Sumter's getting some good businesses come in here. We got the tire company coming in, the Chinese candy company's coming in, so there's going to be more people coming in. It's not a bad time in Sumter to go into business, unless, I would say, the real estate business is still a little overgrown right now. We still have a lot of homes that were built in the early 2000s for sale, and they're still empty. It's not as bad as some places like Atlanta or the major cities where they really overdeveloped, but Sumter's still got a lot of homes for sale. You have to consider your personal situation at the time. If you want to go into business, you can't be taking care of a loved one. You can't be a caretaker full-time to someone. You have to have your mind focused on your business. Who will be my customers? Well, if you're operating in Sumter, the first thing I have when people come to me is, where do you want to operate? What's your market? Is it Manning? Is Sumter and Manning? Are you going to go into Columbia? I always say, don't go to Columbia. There's too many people. There's too many competitors. Sumter's a good place to operate. Manning, this area. You don't want to go to Charleston. You don't want to go to big cities like that, because you just multiply your competitors that way. So pick your target market and pick what you're going to do. When you're starting a small business, the item is a good place to advertise. It doesn't cost a lot. They have that card sheet on Thursdays, I think, where they put business cards in the back. I look at that all the time. I look at that to see if I need something done around the house or something. I look at that a lot. It's expensive to advertise. TV advertising, forget it. Someone starting this can't do that. So you can do newspapers. By the way, you have to advertise. You can't do it once. An advertising campaign is, you have to do it at least 5. You have to get in front of people's faces 5 times before it even starts sinking in that what you're trying to do. You're trying to sell them something. Hopefully you're going to hire people. That's the reason banks and the government wants to lend you money for businesses. So you will hire other people to help run the business, and that way more people get employed. And you grow your business. You always have to go into this with the intention of growing your business, making sure you start out with maybe 2 people, then you want 4 people, then you have 8 people. You want to grow that business, and eventually you get big enough so you have to hire other managers. If it's a franchise like McDonald's, and you want another franchise, and you want a 3rd franchise, and you keep it going like that. If it's a jewelry store, you want to have the best jewelry you can hand, and then have another store in Manning. Your idea is to grow the business. Absolutely essential is probably not straight and telling us too much. It's the roadmap, it's the tool for obtaining financing. And you're all in this, unless you all have a lot of money, you're going to have to borrow money sometime from the bank. You need to, in the business, what the business plan does best, makes you think of your business in a reasonable, logical sense. Starting from the first page, you can see it has legal structure. Starts right out with the legal structure thing. Every one of these items here and all the way down has got a paragraph in here that explains it. So I'm going to give you all a copy of this. It also has all those financial numbers I was talking about, income statements, things like that. It's got an example in the back here. for it all. It's one of the best I've found. South Carolina Secretary of State's office, up comes the web page, Domestic Limited Liability Corporation, click on it, there's a form comes up, fill out the form, give them a credit card, $110, 2 weeks later, you are an LLC in the state of South Carolina. That's simple. You know, if you open a business, you need a license, especially if you're going to sell something in the city or city, county, state. You know you need to go that, you go to City Hall and get all that done. U.S. taxes, regulation, federal ID. You should get a federal ID if you're going to be an LLC, if you're going to open a business. You can use your Social Security number. Nobody recommends that. It is a form you send into the federal government. They'll come up with a federal ID number for you. Put that on your LLC and your business. You have to have liability insurance. Here's the good news. It doesn't cost a fortune. It does not cost a fortune. It costs less than your car insurance. You got a better chance of wrecking a car than you do having being sued in business. First thing up, you have a business checking account. You put your cash proceeds in there at night, and you keep everything separate. You don't mix your personal money with your business. Everything is separate. Okay? But that's daily records. You don't have to, and by the way, computers do this better than people ever thought of doing. They can do inventory control. If you input the right data and set it up right with QuickBooks, it puts everything in the right area. So it's not as hard as it used to be when you had to have an accountant do all of that. Today you can get a lot of help from QuickBooks, and you get set it up by an accountant, can set it up, tell you how to set the thing up, and you can roll with it. You know what the sales are? The sales numbers come in. Here's what I sold that month. Here's what my inventory cost me, less cost of goods sold. That's the product you sold. You paid for it. You marked it up. You've got a sales number. You've got a cost of goods sold. You've got a gross profit number. Then you've got your operating expenses. You've got fixed and variable expenses, and the business plan shows you all that. But very, very quickly, your fixed expense is going to be your rent. It's going to be your heating, your variables, your heating, your air conditioning, your lights. Balance sheet is another monthly statement that you have to work through. All your assets, things you own, your fixtures, your inventory. If you have a building, if you have a car that's in the business, a vehicle or a truck that's in the business, all that are things you own. Liabilities are things you owe. Okay? Accounts receivable are in things you own. Accounts payable are in things that are going out. You owe people for loans to the bank are liabilities. Loans to your mother or your father or whoever gives you money to start the business. You have to pay that off. That's a liability. And then you get your net worth. You can see down below the formula. Assets equal liabilities plus net worth. Again, what you want to do is grow what? You don't want to grow liabilities. You want to grow net worth. Keep your liabilities low, and as your assets go up, your net worth goes up. That's where your money is. You can leave it in there under owner's equity. You don't have to take it out. You can leave it in the business. A lot of people think they make $10,000, they want to immediately take it out of the business. Leave it in the business. The government can't tax you if it's in the business. If you take it out, it's income. As soon as you take it out, it's income, you're going to get taxed. If it's left in the business, it can sit there under owner's equity. You, on the other hand, you're trying to get good credit, you're trying to get your business established, you pay in 30 days. There's no cash discounts anymore. It's net 30 in almost every business. So you still pay in 30 days. What happens is, if you sell a ton of stuff, this is the old I grew too fast, and you don't have the cash background or at least a line of credit at the bank, and you have to wait on those payables. The notes are still due. If you borrow money, everything's due. All your payables are still due. And if your receivables don't come in on time, guess what? You can be hung out to dry, and you have to know that. And the cash flow statement tells you that. Every month you do this. And all of a sudden, you see those sales numbers going way up, and you see these AR collections are up 5 times what sales are. You're in a little bit of trouble. Then you have to go after and try to collect the money. You can get information from SCORE. I work right out of the Chamber of Commerce. We have seminars in Columbia. If you're in Columbia, they use 25 counselors. It's a free service, so we don't charge you any, and you can come back as many times as you want. The internet websites, there's tons of information about small businesses on it.